Alrighty, there we are. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Today is March 22nd, 2021. You're here with Bojan Petreski. Go by Bo. Easier to say to remember. We will be looking at the futures now. We'll be looking to trade futures this morning um, with our technology here provided by TRADDICTIV on our channel, Trade with UFOs. Just before we get started, again, the disclaimer is there always there for you guys, for your protection, for your information, for your safety, so to speak, right? Where we are, exposed to risk here. We're trying to manage that risk according to our rules and plans. Obviously, we can't always have winning trades. I think that's what ultimately has to come down to. Let's look at our agenda today for today. So, we are simulcasting, and that just really means that we are streaming to multiple places, multiple locations. If you're joining me on YouTube, Vimeo, or Facebook, feel free to say hi. I have all the chats open here on my end. I'm looking at all of them. I'm going to try to answer as many of the questions as I can in order to basically, provide any clarification, any help that I can be during our session. Of course, with our sessions, we do have a couple of things that we do every time, which is, we look at what the environment is. We look at some close trades from before, which now we actually do. We look at some trade management if we have any open trades, which, most of the time I would say, I would be surprised if we have any open trades. But if we do have open trades, let me tell you this, that means that we're in a very good position, because that means if you've turned a trade that's, started off as an intraday trade and has turned into a swing trade, that means that trade is going so well that throughout that week, it has not stopped you out on our trailing stop rules, which means you must be, smiling big time with a big grin on your face is what I would expect you to be on the other side of the screen. And then, of course, we'll be looking for new opportunities. We'll be identifying and planning them. We're going to be, approving or rejecting based on our conditions, based on our rules, based on our, requirements, so to speak. And in the meantime, if you are joining me on Facebook or YouTube, please feel free to say hi. Let me know if there's anything you want me to go over while we're in the session. And as usual, folks, this is kind of some of the newer stuff. So the way it works right now is, we'll be looking at for our first opportunity. We'll execute and manage that opportunity as best as we can. And what we'll do is at that point, we're going to go ahead and switch to our private stream, which is on our tradewithufos.com/live, which is that link right here. The public streams will end as soon as we have our first opportunity, which sometimes, we may not have one until the end of the session. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to open up trade with our climate here. Short time frame. In the meantime, I'm just going to bring, because the previous time that we were scheduled to have a session together, I actually wasn't here. I wasn't able to attend to that session. So let's take a look. So I think this is the first one that we had, which was that RTY setup. But interestingly enough, I actually forgot about this trade. I left it open. It hit, and not only did it hit, but it went, really, really well into our profit. I don't believe it reached T2. It was a stop out on the upper end, but unfortunately, my trade station was close. So I didn't see it. All I saw that it was, trades in profit. Our JY setup, it did hit, and it did hit our stop within the same session. The setup was valid. We had a confirmed climate. It was the second, actually technically third, out of typically 6. So this was a valid trade to execute. We did get our entry filled. Obviously, it could have filled us a little bit earlier to hit that limit one, that target one up there, but it didn't. It came back afterwards, and it went to our stop, which is right there. So as you see, it was right at the end of it all. It did end up reversing climates afterwards. And then the silver trade, we did have this set up. I reviewed this actually before I closed my platform, and I saw that it was invalidated. So this one was no longer a valid trade to execute. Um, so we're going to go ahead and actually delete that one as well. And of course, as we said, for this RTY setup, the setup was there, and if you did take it, you did make some money afterwards. I myself forgot that I even had it on there, and I didn't open it up. So that's that for this one. And I'm looking at the chat windows here. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. So guys, if I missed something, please feel free to send me an email. The email is right here at the beginning, right? Bojan@tradictive.com. All right, so what do we have in front of us here? Well, it's the business as usual, right? We're looking at a couple of things here. We're looking at the 15-minute climates. We're looking for a permission to open a chart, which we do have it on multiple tickers right now. We have it on crude oil, the euro contract, and the gold futures contract. So we do have permission to open all three of these. So without much further delay, I'm just going to go ahead and get to them. So we got crude oil on the 15, the euro on the 15, and gold on the 15, and see what we can do. In the meantime, I was going to just say, just making sure, yeah, that's good. Okay, perfect. Yep. Yeah, folks. As I said earlier, yeah, it's just taking its time to open up real quick here. I'm just gonna grab a quick sip of water. Feel free to share in the chat. How do where you are with trading? How's it going for you? It's an open forum on the chat box. It doesn't have to be even related to what we're doing here. It might be something else that you're looking at, and we could open up that chat for that. All right, so here we go. So for gold being the first one that we have open here, we are seeing that gold is actually very close to its moving average is at 1734 even. It's currently at 1734.5, all right, which is this UFO right here. Okay, so that UFO starts at 1734.4. So that UFO is actually a valid UFO. Interesting enough. Look at that. First chart open and trade already there. Our stop down here, 1732. So our stop would have to be 1734. There we go. We're already in. So this I could do much easier now. All right. Our T1 needs to be up here at this 480. This 480 mark. Our T2 was this UFO up above that I saw right here on the 50-minute time frame, which is starting at 1743.9. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. 1743.9. There we go. So we do have our trade set up right there. Now, something that we typically do in our channel and something that we typically need to go over every time we execute these trades is our trade management, obviously, right? Getting the opportunity is all fine and dandy, but we have to have strict rules on our trade management. So what we do is, and I love doing this because it's so visual that there's no ands, ifs, or buts. So what we do is we put two vertical lines here, right? And what we do is we measure one, two, three candles, right? 6 minutes, because again, this is a 50-minute time frame, so 6 minutes is basically, almost, more than half the time of the climate window. So we're gonna go ahead and put this vertical line right there, and we're gonna go ahead and draw a rectangle from the bottom of this one to the top of this one. All right, so this, magenta area right here that you're seeing in front of you, this is the allotted time that you allow this trade to propagate until it gets you in safety, right? Our T1 is essentially that exactly. It is our safety. It is what we're supposed to be counting on should things go the wrong way. And we should say, okay, within this time, if I don't get to my safety, then maybe something's wrong, or maybe this setup, even though it's a valid setup, it's just not working out. Right now, based on your risk tolerance and based on your, even patience, you could say, you could definitely increase this to 5 candles. I've definitely seen some people do that. I myself typically stick to 3, just because that's the basic rule. That's the one that I've back tested before, and I've seen it. As soon as this third candle close, I've seen it go straight to the full stop. I've seen it go after the third candle straight to the T1, but I've seen it more often than not save me money than lose me money when we're executing this trade. All right, folks. So I'm not sure if any of you took this trade with me. If you have, technically this is. If you haven't, technically this is still a valid trade. Since this UFO, our entry UFO, is still there. In the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at the Euro contract and see what's going on there. All right. So this one, from what I'm seeing here, we have a UFO right above this. Now let's see here. Is this price within this UFO yet? No, it's not. Okay, so this one, because we have such an obstacle ahead of us, this is not something that we should be taking right now. Obviously, the entry could be further down below. But again, it does not have a long way to go, this trade. So let's take a look and see if we can analyze it. So 1.19421 is the moving average. We do have a UFO right here at 19420 that it ends. So that one's going to get missed. 420 ending, that one's going to get missed as well. So, and this one is just a little too far down. So that's not going to work as of right now. However, in about 4 minutes from now, we're going to have an update to this climate. And as the climate updates, so does the moving average. So this UFO, these two UFOs from this 19450, 19435 down to that 19420 may actually work in about, 3.5 minutes from now. Okay, so before that, let's go ahead and change this to CLM, I think it is, or is it? Where is it? That CLK. Yeah. Since I'm not exactly sure, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna pop open my barchart.com and take a look and see what we're working with on the energies. All right, so we are actually on the K contract, 250,000 volume traded for the day. Okay, whoa, that's a big drop. All right, look at that. That is a substantial drop that crude oil is going through right now. So it's already trading below the moving average. I don't know, but if we got in here, nope, that would not be a valid entry. Moving average is at 61.60. Obviously, this UFO starts way below there, 61.47. But it's interesting to see, still, even though it's a sharp drop down, it's reacting off of this 2-minute UFO down here. It pulled back a little bit. Now it's going through. So sometimes you don't want to end it there. It is. The UFO's already gone. New UFO forming here. So this could actually be a change in climate, and which might actually give us an opportunity to short. Okay. So looking at this right now, we're just going to go ahead and, wait this out for a little bit. Obviously, it's below the moving average. In about 30 seconds from now, we're going to have an update to the climate. We'll see if this climate changes to an unconfirmed or to a confirmed down climate, which if it does change to a confirmed down climate and it pushes the moving average down, this UFO and this UFO here may actually be valid. So let's see what's going to happen here. Okay, we have a few more seconds here to go. Okay, it is not a confirmed climate, so we cannot take that. We're going to go ahead and save the workspace and turn it off. Okay, now 19426. 26 is actually within this UFO, so we can take this trade right now at 19450 right here and let it move up. I just haven't done the math. So what is this UFO? Where does it start? 19590. Our stop would have to be at 410. So if we got it in 19, okay, so that would work. It would be more than a 1-to-1. Okay. All right. So here we go. Gold unfortunately did close to nothing since we got in. We have another minute or so to go before we, go ahead and close this trade with a time stop for a small. Actually, right there, the new candle just printed, so we're gonna go ahead and close this for just a tiny loss. Something that I didn't do, and that's because we caught this trade very early. I'm gonna go ahead and save this 020322. I'm gonna call it GC setup and exit because obviously this was a time stop. I'm gonna save it. I forgot to do that. Um, Realistically speaking, though, this is still a trade that we can get in on, right? The UFO never disappeared. We're still in there. I just want to see because obviously it wasn't doing a whole bunch of anything. Um, I wanted to see if we can get into this Euro trade just because it was giving us an opportunity here. But unfortunately, it's so 19450, 19423. This is a barely valid trade because as you see, the moving average is at 420. This is at 424. So this is a valid trade to get in on, which I'm gonna go ahead and put on here at 19420. It is a very small risk trade, so I'm okay with taking this. We're gonna move this to the 10 here, and we're gonna go ahead and move this to the 90 here. And then obviously our final target, our stop, will be at 1969. 1969. Okay. There we go. All right. So I just need to go ahead and take a screenshot of this as well and get that going. Let me just take the screenshot. Okay. Save 2021 0322. This is our EC setup. Okay, so that's that for this one. Actually, I'm gonna do a quick data reload just to make sure that I didn't make a mistake there with the final target placement because I think I moved this UFO a little bit. Man, it came a tick from filling us and didn't fill, or did it fill? I think it did fill, right? Yeah, it did fill. Okay. So stops at 410, 510, and no, it did not fill us. I'm sorry. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? It did not fill. So we're just gonna leave that running right there, just to see what's going on with it. Unfortunately, as you see, it's already coming close to the T1 on here, but it did not grab us on the way up, which kind of sucks. There it is at the T1, which is safe to assume would be filled right there. Let's see what happens. We're gonna leave it on. It's still a valid trade. It might do no. See, I think I did move this right there. Okay, so yeah, there we go. I did make a mistake here. So when I was initially looking at this, it looks like I might have moved this UFO. So what I'm gonna do is like that, right? So as you see, price is beginning at 19.5, which is right there. So realistically speaking, this is still a valid trade right now. What we want to see though is price to go into this 19.5 area. So then we will have permission to take this trade and disregard this UFO because it looks like it's already been. That means that price would be still in there when we're taking the trade. Okay, so that's something important to understand and realize that hey, this is a valid trade, but we're going to go ahead and disregard this UFO because price has already been there. It looks like this is the second time price is going there. Um, and we're going to disregard it as if it doesn't exist, which means that our final target is not right here. It's not showing up here. Let's see if we can blow this up. Nope, there's nothing up above. So what that would mean is the following, right? If price goes, let's say, shoots in here and then pulls back down, and we get filled, right? That means we're gonna disregard this UFO, even if it's still there, and we're just gonna do a trail stop, right? So as price moves up, we're just gonna go right behind it and play along, essentially. All right. So close PLN is 45. Oh yeah, that's this. I'm like, well, what the heck is it talking about? We closed that trade. Okay, so we're good on this one. Look at that. And there we go. So now it popped it to that 19.5. It's within the UFO, right? It's within the UFO right here, as we see right there. It's within that UFO. So as long as this UFO kind of gets filled or disappears, even better, pushes price down to us, we get on board. We have a good chance to see some more to the upside. And here we go. A new UFO has formed there, leaving some additional traces of unfilled orders for us to see and follow along. Right? It's leaving us a little breadcrumbs, so to speak. Okay. Folks, you've been awfully quiet since we got started. I do see a few of you are joining us live here. Please let me know how's it going so far. Is everybody following along? If you are, say yes. If you're not, say no. I'll be more than glad to go into a little bit more detail. Obviously, we're kind of nearing that cutoff point where we're going to go ahead and switch just to the private stream. If you are not joining us there and you do have your membership, please go ahead and switch to that stream so we can take a look at it. In the meantime, we're going to see if this trade plays out. Obviously, this is looking beautiful. If I can be honest with you, right? We have multiple green UFOs in our favor, newly formed. This UFO being touched up above, disregarding us. So this is still, looking very nice. To the point where it's like things are definitely looking to go that way. Obviously, we don't know which way it's going to go. We don't have a crystal ball, but it would be nice, unlike the couple of trades from a couple of weeks ago where it was like a tick or two misses and then it goes straight from T1 to really deep in the profit with leaving new UFOs, kind of like what's going on here, right? We didn't get filled again by a tick, but I couldn't even like these new UFOs. Now that these new UFOs have formed, I could have actually moved my entry so I can catch it. But at the time when we were looking at this, the only UFO was the one up here. Moving it even a tick above would mean that we're not following our rules, and I would rather miss out on trades than when I have to grade myself later into my journal. I put that I made a mistake or I got greedy or I got impatient and so on. So that's just my 2 cents there. So gold again, still a whole lot of nothing happening here. As you see, we got filled right here and still indecision on which way to go. Now, something that I'm going to point out that I should have pointed out when we were executing this trade is the fact that gold is actually on its sixth 50-minute candle up out of typically 7. So gold is in fact nearing the end of its typical sensible climate that we typically see for gold for the past. I think this looks at 500 increments. Yeah, 550-minute bars. So right. that's where we go. All right, looks like this is coming down again. It might give us a second chance. If it does get filled, we do have the trade set up. But in the meantime, folks, I'm going to go ahead and switch off to just our private channel. So if you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, the session will end. But if you're joining us on the tradewithufos.com/live link, the stream will continue. So please feel free, to stay along with me as I kind of